Hello and welcome to the Animation Triad. To the Animation Triad. Welcome.
Hello and welcome to Animation Triad, your guide to the many worlds of animation. I, of course, am your humble host, Stu, and with me, as always, is...
Teddy D, and tonight we're going to be delving into a segment in the history of a Hanna-Barbera classic.
That's right, Teddy, because today we are getting groovy with an exploration of Scooby-Doo Night of the Living Doo!
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now.
We here at Animation Triad have some simple questions for you. Do you like cartoons? Do you like anime? Heck, do you like animated stuff in general? If so, then we are the channel for you. Click like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get all the animated reviews you could want. Now, before we jump into their review, we are, of course, going to list our three main talking points. And they are...
The interesting way this was originally broadcasted,
the voice cast, and the fact that this could have changed the future of the Scooby-Doo series forever.
Zoinks!
So strap in, initiates, and welcome to the Triad. Scooby-Doo Night of the Living Doo was a television animated special released on October 31st, 2001. It was produced by Cartoon Network and aired during the commercial breaks of a Scooby-Doo Halloween marathon. At the end of the marathon, they broadcasted the entire episode.
It's a parody of a typical episode of the new Scooby-Doo movies. It's different from its predecessor, Scooby-Doo Where Are You?, because it would feature a real-world celebrity, or it would have a famous cartoon join Scooby and the gang to solve the mystery of the night.
Correct. And finally, it was written, produced, and directed by Chris Casper Kelly. Now, we'll get more into his role in this special after the synopsis. Now, before we jump into the review proper, we should let you know there will be spoilers.
Because without the spoilers, this review would look like this.
Hello and welcome to Animation Triad. Today we are reviewing Scooby-Doo Night of the Living Doo.
It was a segment during a Scooby-Doo marathon.
Bye!
Basically, so we want to give you more than that, of course.
But don't worry, we won't ruin all the jokes.
No.
But we will spoil who the villain is. You have been warned. Oh.
It was a dark and stormy night. A little van found its way through the dark and stormy forest, as it usually does. I'm talking about the ever legendary Mystery Machine.
Wha-bam! Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And, as it tends to happen, they see somebody standing at the side of the road. But who could it be?
What's that on the side of the road? It's the famous Gary Coleman.
Larry! Hey, gang, can you give me a lift? Sure, hop in.
What you talking about, Stu?
Why, it's Gary Coleman!
Oh!
Who they refer to in his full name throughout the entire entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was, I gotta admit, that was
one of
kind
my
of
favorite
funny.
parts.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. So they pick up Gary Coleman and they start driving around.
Yeah.
And, well, don't you know, the Mystery Machine just constantly has some issues, doesn't it?
No time for stories now. Looks like we're running out of gas.
Oh, look, an old abandoned amusement park. Let's pull over and check it out.
Don't worry, gang. I got you covered.
Where did that...
Back in a jiff.
Fred needs to check out that warranty.
I think so.
Yeah.
Look, gang, a creepy steamship. Uh-oh, flat tire.
Oh, we better stop for the night.
You don't have a spare.
Afraid not.
Well, today's your lucky day.
I'm beginning to see a bit of a pattern there.
Yeah.
But, well, what would Scooby-Doo be without the Mystery Machine breaking down?
Look,
Right.
a spooky old castle.
Let's see the famous Gary Coleman fix that.
Of course, they, then end up at a spooky castle.
Yes.
And who is it that's the owner of said castle?
Whoa! Somebody's throwing cans at us.
Rand, yum, yum.
Happy Halloween!
Ow! We're Freddy, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, Gary Coleman, and Scooby-Doo.
Great costumes, kids. Very retro. I'm the famous David Cross.
Who?
I had a groundbreaking and critically acclaimed comedy show for 4 years.
Look, we never heard of you. Now, you gonna lower the drawbridge or not?
Why, it's none other than David Cross.
What?
Right. Okay, maybe we should explain on that one.
Yeah, who is David Cross? Most of you probably don't recognize him unless he's painted blue like this.
You know, the universe works in mysterious ways, Michael. You never know where help is going to come from until you look for it.
Why does everybody think that I need help?
Michael, look at you. I mean, you're holding a sledgehammer. Your shirt is... Oh, I did that. Here, let me...
But you might know him better as... David Cross!
David Cross!
From, Look Who's Talking Now, or what was it? The Truth About Cats and Dogs? What was it?
Arrested Development?
Well, he was in Arrested Development. That's when he was dressed in blue.
He was in Mr. Show.
Yep, Mr. Show.
Mr. Show. He's been in a couple things. He was in the Alvin and Chipmunks movie.
Oh
The
yeah, he
live-action
was.
one. Yeah, he was the villain, I think. He was their agent. Yeah.
All right,
So
fair enough.
He's been in some stuff.
And he seems to be having some issues with zombies in his castle.
As you do.
Oh, it happens all the time,
I
to the
know.
best people even. But then we're introduced to his caretaker, Mr. I think it was Shifty, wasn't it?
It was. Bit on the nose, but yeah.
I put up the zombie barricade for the night as you instructed.
Zombie barricade? What are you talking about? Guys, there's no such thing as zombies. Everybody knows. Shifty, you old card, you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and by the way, you left a bucket of glow-in-the-dark paint and an old movie projector out in the hallway. I pay you to keep things tidy.
Oh, yes, it's just,
And I also found this book, How to Use Monsters to Drive Down the Price of Real Estate for Dummies.
That's not
Yeah,
mine.
my mistake. Hey, there's a Property of Shifty sticker on the inside cover here.
Oh.
Now, I don't want to seem a little too judgmental, but I think something's up with Shifty.
Possibly.
Quite, yes. I just love the fact that it's usually the first person they introduce besides, like, the guest star
Yeah.
is almost always the one who did it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of playing off of that in a way.
Right.
I like that. It's a pretty decent parody so far.
Right.
And then, of course, the kids all decide to go to the rooms and whatnot. Gary
Right.
Coleman is then dragged off screen by an unknown hand. And we have this little interaction with Velma and Daphne.
Oh, you're right. We just need a good night's sleep. I can't wait to get out of these clothes and into my jammies. Yeah, me too. But wait, we don't have any jammies. Come in.
Hello, ladies. Can I get you some towels?
That would be great.
Hey, Shifty. Can you get these girls some towels?
Yes. Right away, sir.
Oh my.
Yeah, that kind of went over my head as a kid. And that was aired during a marathon intended for kids.
Yes.
We'll get into more on that type of humor in it later, but after that little scene, we are then shown Scooby and Shaggy doing what they do best,
Right.
looking for food.
Exactly.
And David Cross just, I gotta give him credit. He actually acknowledges something that I don't think hardly anyone else ever really does in Scooby-Doo.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hey, David, we're just looking for a snack. Well, a rack.
A rack. That's so awesome you have a talking dog.
Thanks, David. Well, thanks.
Yeah, Rex.
The dog talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right.
We'll go with that. Why not?
Yeah.
At least somebody's addressing it.
Well, it was the 70s, so
Oh yeah.
they were probably used to a few things back then.
That weren't a little.
Right, right.
So yeah, and then
The zombie got David. Well, David.
Oh, no.
And I can't find Gary Coleman anywhere.
Like Gary's missing too?
No, not Larry. Not Larry Roman.
Hey, gang.
David Cross.
Shaggy and Scooby said you were captured by the zombie.
The zombie? What? No, see, that's how rumors get started. I fell down the stairs.
So now the gang's all together, and of course they realize that Gary Coleman is missing. And what do they do when something is afoot?
The one rule you don't want to break in a horror movie.
Damn straight. They split up.
Right. Because they're smirked.
Indeed.
Let's split up.
Okay, Fred, you and Scooby check the crawl spaces. Velma, you and Shaggy go look in the swamp. Daphne, let's check the dungeons.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Cross, I usually divide the groups up.
Yeah, well, it's my castle.
Well, it's my gang.
Well, it's my too late trapdoor.
Come on, Velma.
I love David Cross in that scene. That was that was funny.
That's a funny one.
Oh yeah, he's actually really enjoyable in this.
He is.
Yeah, I like some of his stand-up too.
Oh, his stand-up's really funny.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend that.
Oh, something to look into. After some shenanigans, the gang meets up again, and well, Shaggy and Scooby aren't there. They're still being chased by the zombie.
Yes.
But they decide they're gonna be hunting for clues and stuff in their normal way.
Right.
But David Cross is he has his own way of doing things.
Gang, footprints. And they end right at the wall. That's impossible.
There must be a secret passageway. Let's search for the hidden switch.
Oh, no sweat. It's under the corner of my Keanu Reeves poster. See? Up and down. Up and down.
David,
Yeah.
try not to wreck it for everyone by showing us the secret passageways.
Oh, do you want me to tell you that there's a hidden switch here? Or just, like, pretend that it's a regular room?
Just don't show us where it is.
Okay, my way sure saves a lot of time. Cold. Getting colder. Colder. You're almost in Siberia now.
Chicken soup for the mystery lover's soul. Would you mind if I borrowed this?
Wow, you kids are good.
Well, that's an interesting take on a tried and true classic.
Yeah.
And I just love the closer, warmer, colder, colder, all that.
Right.
That was actually pretty funny.
That was good stuff.
Oh, and then they go through the secret passage, of course, and now they encounter a mummy?
What?
And Velma ain't having any of it.
Get your dirty paws off David, you mummy.
Go, get him, Velma! Come on, Mummy. You don't scare me. I'm not scared of cloth.
That's right, Velma. You go get him! We always knew she could hold her own.
Oh, yeah. She really wrapped that up.
Yeah, okay, you're paying for that one. Ready? Ooh!
Aha!
Lucky. Because when there's a pun, there's the pun gun.
Jinkies.
Okay, I'm not going to shoot you for that one. That wasn't a pun, that was just a quote.
Yes.
And a good one. So yes. After that, the gang all gets back together, as they do, through trapdoors and whatnot. And they run into Gary Coleman.
Who is now...
Well, we'll let it speak for itself.
Exactly.
We thought you were dead.
No, I'm not dead. I'm undead.
That's great.
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
I'm undead. Not dead.
Undead, not dead, tomato, tomato. The important thing is that you're still alive.
Listen to me. I am a zombie.
What you talking about, Gary? What you talking about, Gary?
Yeah, what are you talking about, Gary?
Oh, that does it. It's bad enough I'm undead, but then you degrade my life by reducing it to a catchphrase.
Zoinks!
Jinkies.
Yeah, Gary Coleman's dead.
Oh.
Ow. Ooh. Yeah. Topical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well then, we are then introduced to the musical number, because what Scooby-Doo movie from this time period wouldn't be complete without a musical chase number.
Right.
And that musical number is by Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Hey, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy!
What are you guys doing here?
We came to the castle to record our new album.
But then a mutant zombie made us undead.
So now we're pretty much eating brains.
You can eat my brains anytime.
That's right.
Right.
The Kings of Swing.
Oh, yes.
When,
Back when swing was really popular for that 1 week.
Yeah, I think it was from like 97 to 2000 roughly.
I think so.
Was the swing revival period.
Oh, yeah.
You had stuff like Cherry Poppin' Daddies, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy,
Squirrel Nut
Zippers, great bands.
Oh, yeah.
I actually really like. I like swing music.
It is fun.
It was fun, yeah. So yeah, of course you have the chase scene, and then, as it happens, they accidentally catch the zombie, and it turns out to be who? Now, folks, this is your last chance to tune out before we spoil who is the zombie.
Spoiler alert!
Could it be Shifty? Yeah, that's about it, really.
No.
Who else could it be but
Jabberjaw.
That's right. Jabberjaw!
Yes.
The talking fish. Well, are sharks fish?
Yeah, they're fish.
They're fish? Okay. So, yes, Jabberjaw, the talking shark that solved mysteries and was in a band.
Yes.
You know what? We'll just let him explain his reasoning for it.
Right.
Jabberjaw was trying to drive down the value of your castle so that he could build luxury condominiums.
Actually, I was hoping to eliminate you and the gang in your sleep. Zoinks! You know, you're not the only group of teenage sleuths with a comedic sidekick. I used to solve mysteries too, underwater, while playing in a band. But people didn't care about a lovable talking shark. No. All they wanted was Scooby-Doo! Scooby-Doo! Scooby...
I guess we owe you an apology, Mr. Shifty.
I'm not...
Really shifty.
Mark Hamill!
Yeah, that's me. I've been working undercover on this case for a long time. I want to thank you for helping me crack it.
Hello, Mark Hamill. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was.
This was. I just love how the whole explanation of it. I mean, that was very tongue-in-cheek, fourth wall breaking. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Well, this special, I should say.
Right. It was actually really funny.
Yeah, we won't ruin anything else for you. We warned you guys enough.
Yeah.
But seriously, we've left out quite a few jokes in it.
Right.
And we think you guys should just check it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to find, but if we can, we'll supply a link to a place where you can watch it below. And now, time for some more info. Let's go with the final thoughts, and then we'll move on to the rest of the breakdown.
Well, I mean, I know that my friend Stu here is the Scoobophile.
Mm-hmm.
He is very Scooby-Doo. I am very Scooby-Don't. I know. But I do have to say, I did see the special, and it did make me laugh. So I do appreciate the take they took with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to. There's not much more I could say because
it's a short one.
Exactly, very.
So my thoughts. I liked this. It was really fun. Kind of a one-off thing, technically. We'll touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and as I said, if you can find it, watch it. We'll hopefully have a link below. But this is actually kind of hard to find in its entirety.
Yeah.
It was originally I want to say 18 to 20 minutes.
Right.
Most ones you can find do not have the opening with the music and some extra footage.
Right.
The song in the opening was a cover of the original Scooby-Doo song by Matthew Sweet, and was actually released on this album, Saturday Morning Cartoon Greatest Hits.
Awesome album.
Really good. I mean, you've got Matthew Sweet singing Scooby-Doo. You've got Butthole Surfers singing the Underdog song.
Oh.
The Ramones singing the Spider-Man theme song.
Nice.
Violent Femmes singing a song from the Jetsons.
Yes.
Sublime, Toady, Wax, Murmurs. It's a really good CD, which unfortunately is out of print. So if you can find it...
Travesty.
Yeah, grab it if you can.
Yeah.
And now for some more info about this. This was actually the third animated television special that Cartoon Network did for Scooby-Doo. They were usually shown during marathons around Halloween. Right. The first one they did was one called Meddling Kids, or Those Meddling Kids, which was a parody of the Behind the Music feature. Right. And it was basically talking about the gang's history and how they got started. Some new stuff was added in. It was fun. Yeah. The second one, which aired in 1999 during Halloween, was called the Scooby-Doo Project. And that was, surprisingly, a parody of the Blair Witch Project. Yeah. Which mixed live action and animation, and was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
It was really neat. That one's actually
vaguely,
easier.
But I remember it was enjoyable.
Yeah, so. That one's actually easier to find, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one. Night of the Living Dew is the hardest to find, and hard to find good quality copies of it. It really is. None of these were ever released on DVD or anything. Right. They might have been released as special features, but I doubt it. Right. I think I remember Those Meddling Kids being on a VHS copy of, like, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island or something, but that's about it, really. Right. But we're going to talk about the voice cast. Gary Coleman voiced himself. Right. David Cross voiced himself. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy voiced themselves. Yeah. I think that's... No, they were also in another movie called Swingers or something, I think. They've done a couple of guest appearances. Yeah. But I think this is like their only real credit. Right, right. Frank Welker was the voice of Fred, and he has, interestingly enough, been the voice of Fred Jones in every iteration of Scooby-Doo except a pup named Scooby-Doo. Daphne was voiced by Gray Delisle. The amazing and talented and awesome Gray Delisle, queen of voice actresses, in my personal opinion. Love her to death. She is amazing. And this was, I believe, as far as my research shows, the first time she ever voiced Daphne. So, awesome. And then we have Velma, voiced by B.J. Ward, and I actually believe that this was her last performance as Velma. So, that's something to think about. I mean, it was the first for the new Daphne and the last for the old Velma. Right. And then you have Shaggy, who was not voiced by Casey Kasem. And this was, I believe, around the time Casey Kasem quit because he wanted them to make Shaggy a vegetarian. And he got really upset when Shaggy appeared in a Burger King commercial. So he refused to voice him. So he was voiced by this guy down here. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he also voiced Scooby-Doo for a short period of time. Yeah. Overall, it was really cool. I mean, it was nice to see Mark Hamill show up in this. Yeah.
It's always nice to see Mark
Hamill. It is. It really is. No!
No! Jinkies!
Oh no. There we go. Okay. So, as we said, this was directed, written, and produced by Chris Casper Kelly. Now, he's most famous for working on Adult Swim stuff, which would include Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, Squidbillies, a couple other things like that. But he's also very famous for directing and writing Too Many Cooks. That is a mind trip. If you haven't seen it, go watch it and just have your mind blown because it's just so well. Yeah. So you can see where this is coming from with the humor. Something we should mention is that this aired in 2001, which was right around the start of the Adult Swim animation block. So this is, as we said earlier, this is something that could have changed the course of Scooby-Doo because it could have become a parody of itself. In this way, they could have went in this direction. But you have to take into account, there was the live-action movie coming out in 2002. So these were in production around the same time. Yeah. The original screenplay for the live-action Scooby-Doo, now that was released in 2002. The original screenplay was written by James Gunn, the writer and director for Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, the movie Slither, and Romeo and Juliet. Throwing in an old one there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Trauma. You can't go wrong with a good trauma movie.
Good old trauma.
Oh, yeah. So, his original script was, they were aiming for, well, PG-13. But what they got was an R rating. So they had to go through and they had to cut a bunch of stuff out to make it PG, I believe. So it would be more family friendly.
Right.
Because in the original draft of this screenplay, Shaggy was a straight up stoner. Velma and Daphne were had a lesbian side thing going on.
Right.
And just a lot more adult humor in it.
Yeah.
That is how it could have gone. And they cut a lot of it out. Part of me kind of wishes I could see the original version just because I think it'd be interesting, but at the same time, I love Scooby-Doo for what it is. It is something that has been going on for years and years, and there's barely, like, a stretch of 5 years or so that doesn't go without there being some new Scooby-Doo series. In regards to the movies, there's basically one direct-to-DVD or direct-to-video release every 9 months. And with that, we challenge you. Did you like this review? Do you like us talking? Do you like what we have to say? If so, click like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if this video gets over 100, that's 100 likes, well, we'll do our own Scooby-Doo marathon for Halloween. That's right, folks. We will review every single Scooby-Doo movie, both animated and live action, during the month of October.
We're gonna do the do hard.
Darn tootin'. So that's right. If you want to see those reviews, click like, get us to 100, and hit subscribe. Well, with that being said, I, of course, am your humble host, Stu.
Teddy D.
And we are Animation Triad. Awkward finger guns.
Awkward Zuko.
Bye-bye.
Good night.